Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
So I have a question. Are you in alignment? I'm not talking about the tires on your car. I'm talking about you, your soul, your very being. Are you in alignment with life, with the universe, with all of that? Not sure how to answer that? Then we need to talk to this woman, and you need to listen to this woman is what we need to do here, because we're going to kind of break that all down and why being in alignment means so much to moving your life forward. She is an Egyptian numerologist. Fascinating what she does in terms of using different numbers within your life, your name, to kind of chart your path. And we're going to talk to her today. Once again, Sara Bachmeier is back with us. Hey, Sara, how are you?
Hi, Steve. I'm doing great. Merry Christmas season to you and
Oh,
everybody.
same to you and your family. It just doesn't seem real that it's
Um,
a
I
week and
know.
a couple of days
Yeah.
away. Just it's just not. All I need to go home and get back on Amazon. Get the finish up. When we say this whole thing about the alignment in life, what exactly do we mean?
Such a good question because most people reach out for a numerology reading because they need a little bit direction. A lot of the times when the bottom falls out from somebody's life, including ending relationships, jobs, relocating, just a general feeling of uneasiness and restlessness. Um, People want some direction, and being in alignment really means a lot of people talk about alignment, but what does that mean? It means being in alignment with your higher self, with source, with your soul life, and with Egyptian numerology, with your soul life contract.
Hmm.
And people take for granted that life has ups and downs and twists and turns, and sometimes get stuck in long-term ruts. But really, when you're in alignment with your soul life purpose, your contract, your higher self and source, there's I don't want to say that you can control the ups and downs in your life, but you can react to them in a more positive, healthy way so that it doesn't disrupt your physical body, emotional, and mental, and cause
Hmm.
depression. So being in alignment, yeah, is in essence with Egyptian numerology means being in alignment with your soul life contract, which is what we've talked about before. We get that information from your birth date and your birth name, and it's under the premise that before we're born, we um, we make a contract with our higher self, our guides, our angels, or everybody that's involved up there in the other realm to come into this lifetime to do specific things, be specific things. And when we're off track, that's usually when we hit the bumps in the road because it's the universe reminding us that we did come here for a purpose. And if we don't do it for ourselves, the universe will do it for us. It will maneuver our life in many different ways to get us
Hmm.
back in alignment with why we came here and what we came to do. Does that make sense?
Very much so. Um, Enlightening, a little bit scary in some regards, but that is life. In what you said, let's say this is the way you're supposed to go in life, according to the soul contract, which I want to pivot back to in a second. But if you're not following that, and tell me if I'm right or wrong here, you will be re recalculated. If I don't know if you remember on your GPS in your car, back in the day before phones, you had the GPS and it would say recalculating, like your routes. It's recalculating your route. It's going to put you back on that. The universe is going to put you back on that path, whether you want to or not. You can fight it. You can scream and kick like a baby, like, no, I don't want to do that. Why did that happen to me in life? No, 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 no. You're going back there anyway. Am I getting that right?
Yes, pretty much. I mean, we all have free will. So we can choose, like you said, um, not to follow the path that the universe is setting out for us. And we will then experience most likely more chaos until we recalibrate and get back in alignment with what we came here to do.
Hmm.
But I do want to point out that no matter which direction we go in, every experience that we have is always used for our highest good. Our choice is whether to listen to the universe and get on track or choose not to and be bumped around for a while.
Hmm. It's better to just put up the white flag and say, all right, universe, whatever you need me to do, I'm going that way. Make it easy. Honestly, that's what I've done. And I used to fight those things and say, why did that happen? Why did that happen? Now it's whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Yes, I have free will to go here, go there, but I'm taking the path of least resistance. And I guess that's the one that the universe has put forth. Doesn't mean that I'm going to be a pushover. Got to do the right thing for yourself and others at the same time. Let's go back to the soul contract. So when we sign a contract, we grab the pen, we're aware of what we're doing there, and we're good to go. This is not that type of contract, or at least it's not set up that way. How is it set up?
Well, that's so interesting because in my book, I think it's my second book, The Path of a Wounded Healer, I talk about how when we are in the other realm before we incarnate, we see things differently. We see things as a higher perspective. So let's just say the karmic board in the other realm and your guides say, well, you know what? The lesson that you're going to learn the quickest way is when you're 8 years old, you're going to have a car accident and you're going to lose the mobility um, of your legs. And that is going to teach you um, tolerance, compassion, and patience. And with those lessons, then you're going to become a teacher and help other people in the same situation. And when you're in that other realm, that sounds like a really good idea. It's
Wow.
like, oh yeah, okay, I see that. I agree. But then when we get here, when we do come into this realm, we forget that we made this contract. We forget that it was this accident was the quickest, easiest, and most profound way for us to um, accomplish and clear maybe some karmic goals. Maybe
Mm.
we're just light warriors and we want to be better teachers. And so we forget all that. And that's why people come to get readings in order to get some clarity when they know that something maybe happened for a specific reason, but they need a perspective. They need to know why. And then when they get a reading and they hear it, they go, oh, yeah, I don't like it, but I agree with that. That makes so much sense. And they get into a much better, um, into acceptance for
Mm.
where they're at and a lot more respect for their path in general.
Do you
So,
think in those moments, Sarah, that it comes clear? The whole situation comes clear. You have that, I guess, epiphany, like, oh, wait a minute. All
aha
right.
moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
When people seek, they're usually ready to hear the truth. And so, yes,
Hmm.
I agree with that. They do have those aha moments. They may not specifically remember everything uh, that happened in the other realm to make that situation be a reality in this lifetime, but it will feel right. And when they feel right about it, then they open up to an acceptance. and they're able to see, or we are able to see our lives in a perspective, a higher perspective, and self-respect for who we are and what we came here to do. And then we also see that we get a clear shot of the alignment of everything that had to happen in order to get to that aha moment.
Hmm. I just briefly want to go back to how the contract is designed because
Okay,
it's intriguing. It's interesting.
it is.
It's everything. It's in another life the contract comes together. Typically, that's how it's done?
Um, in another lifetime,
Like I think you said before we reincarnate, the contract is
yeah, when we're in the higher realms, when we meet with the karmic board, which is kind of, if you ever heard of the Akashic records, which is
absolutely.
an account of everything, every person, place, situation we've ever been in.
Yep.
That's what the karmic board is in charge of. So they have a review of everything that we've ever done and everything that needs to be done in order to balance things out. And then our angels and guides, I mean, some of us want to do a lot more than what we're capable of doing. So our guides, we may say, "Oh no, I really want to do this. I want to be a paraplegic, not just lose my legs." And your guides will say, "No, I don't think that that's a really good idea."
Hmm.
They make sure that we are spiritually ready to take on the assignment that we agree to, that we have the capacity and experience to go through our our next life with it, the life that we're going to come into. It's their job to make sure that they keep it all together. They keep us together and what our intentions are. Does that make sense?
Sure. And I want you to now connect when you do a reading, how that how that does connect to all of this that we're talking about, being in alignment. And we've talked about how the readings are done numer in numerology. Probably if somebody missed that, we should probably bring that back as well in terms of your date of birth, in terms of your name, and all of that.
Well, the information that I give when I do a reading has been channeled to me, and it's channeled in a specific way where the wording is meant to trigger memories and awakenings in a person's soul.
Hmm.
So when I do a reading, if that person is ready to hear and be triggered and have an awakening, they will at that moment. And most people do. And sometimes I'll get emails 3 years later saying, "Oh my God, I just reread my reading from 3 years ago, and I can't believe it that everything that you said has, come true or become in alignment." So the the areas that I cover in a reading are your gifts, abilities, and talents, your path, the main lesson that you chose to learn in this lifetime, and your purpose, what you contracted to do in this lifetime. And there's more, but those are the four main categories. And so the reading in and of itself covers the vibration of your birth date, and that vibration, it'll resonate with you. And resonate meaning that you'll have a deep understanding of all of those areas. And most people do. Sometimes like I said, it takes a while for it to kick in.
Hmm.
I'm always available, for a few weeks after a reading, because it can be so overwhelming that things won't come up until maybe a week later or even later than that, so that they can ask me questions and get some clarity on some of the things that we discuss. Does
You've
that
yeah,
answer your
you're giving
question?
me a whole different view, excuse me, of how this process works, in that you said that you get something from spirit, maybe intuition, that allows the person you're doing the reading for to have realizations. My view of this initially was that, okay, you have person's date of birth, maybe you're also working with their name, which corresponds to numbers, and you just read them that way. But it sounds like there's a lot more going on here in terms of what you tell somebody in a reading, their life path, what's going on. Maybe the contract comes up. I don't know if you have connected connection to that or the Akashic records or anything like that. Um,
Well,
but
the
I'm
contract is is your those four categories are the main categories in a soul contract. Those are the things that are discussed before you're born into this lifetime. What gifts, abilities, and talents are you going to develop in this life in order to help support your life path? Sometimes we choose to be born with gifts, abilities, and talents that we've already developed that'll help us. But all of your gifts, abilities, and talents can always be more developed.
hmm. Would you
And your contract is the path that you chose to journey on, and that is what your path is. What the universe, that vibration is what the universe uses to attract all the people, places, things, circumstances from that energy, that frequency of your path that you're going to need in order to fulfill your contract. Now, I don't, in a reading, I don't specifically tell you exactly everything that you contracted to do, because in some ways you may not even be ready to hear that. So I always tell people when I do a reading to let me know what stands out the most,
hmm.
because that's going to be what we're going to talk about, because that's going to be where they're at the moment.
Is it essentially we choose, like, your life path, my life path, we've chosen it ourselves, or was it chosen for us? It sounds like we chose it ourselves. At another
You
point.
choose it yourself. You
Wow.
choose it yourself. It's your responsibility. It's what you chose. So
What the hell was
if
I
you
thinking?
well, most people with master numbers are strong enough. This is how I explain it. You're strong enough, you've mastered enough in previous lifetimes to come. Like, nobody would be born with the master number unless they were specifically ready to carry on the energy of a master number, because the responsibility is so high, the challenges can be so difficult, and the purpose of why you're here can be so I want to keep using the word challenging, but it's, let's just say it's not easy. And so nobody could be born with a master number unless your guides, the karmic board, and your higher self knew that you were ready, and
And you
had
brought that
enough
up. You brought that
experience
up
to
because
carry that.
I'm a master number, right?
And I am too. And I get a lot of people with master numbers
Huh.
because they have the most challenges and can be so get so unaligned. And when a master number is not in alignment, it can really be detrimental to their health, their well-being, and everyone around them. So
I
it's really
feel
important.
what you're saying. I feel what you're saying. And I feel in my journey in the last, say, 3 or so years, that I've become more aligned with my master number, and things are finally starting to settle down, if you will. Still, there's a road ahead in this part of the journey, but it's it it's coming clearer, and I'm not kicking and screaming anymore. It's just going where I got to go. Um,
Well, master numbers normally don't mature into the higher portion of their calculation, which is the 11, until 40 years or older, because it is such a high responsibility. And there's so many things that they need to learn before they can harness the power of the master number. So it's between 40 and over, and then your second Saturn return kicks in at about 56. And so between 40 and 56 is a really important time for somebody that has a master number
Mm,
to to really start getting into alignment with why they came here, to get off the pity party chair and to heal some of the wounds that they had in childhood and growing up, and to really step into their power and essence as a master in training.
mm. When you say the second Saturn return, the first one I think is around 30, 27, somewhere around there,
28,
right? Okay.
28 to 30.
What does that mean for people? When let's say the second return.
That's a second chance, a second portal, a second opening for us to get on track with our destiny, why we came here. Many people contact me during that time
Wow.
because they know they're here for a reason and they haven't solidified it yet. They haven't anchored down what it is they came here to do. And they have a lot of fear, which there's there is fear around doing your life purpose because it means stepping into the unknown. A lot of people's purpose at this time in our spiritual evolution are being asked to do innovative, very creative things in their life, that some things that have never been done before.
Mm,
And so you have to step up as a leader and a healer in order to fulfill your purpose. And it's not easy. So that's kind of what I do in my mentorship program. I have a 90-day mentorship program that I help people fulfill their soul life contract, their soul DNA
wow.
contract, so that they can manifest what they came here to do. And being in
Hmm.
alignment is really about being confident, being a light worker, being finding peace and bliss and living a life of joy and being in forgiveness and being compassionate.
It's interesting. I never thought of it that way, that people who are in their upper 50s, say, might seek you out because something doesn't, after all this time, they may feel that they haven't nailed their life purpose. They feel out of alignment, which is what we're talking about here. Um, and I got to believe that it's like the second return is almost like a new lease on life. And if you're not embracing it, then you're misaligned. You need answers.
Right. They're not happy.
Yeah,
And I think it's that underlining restlessness of and a lot of people at that time have already raised their family, their children are off and gone to college. Um, they are ready to retire and they're really looking for some direction into the next phase of their life. They don't have as many distractions as they did between 40 and 56.
sure.
So I think that's part of it too.
Wow. Interesting talk today. Gotta tell you, Sarah, fascinating, validates, excuse me, or at least explains a lot of these things that many of us have heard all these years, and especially when it comes to our life purpose. If we feel out of alignment, maybe you haven't nailed your purpose yet. And as evidence, the second return, um, never too late, never too late. How do we find you? If somebody wants to do a reading, um, even navigate through some of this stuff, maybe they have questions. What do they do?
You can reach me on my website at www.egyptiannumerology.org. I have a lot, I explain some things. And I also have a blog that's attached to my website that can give you more specific information if you're looking for it.
Wow. Super cool. Really was today. I totally appreciate your time with us. And if you're out of alignment, reach out to Sara. Find your purpose. Thank you again.
You're welcome. Thank you.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
Mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.